Hello everyone, it's UB. In this video, I'll be going over my Bitcoin long official trade number 56 from the Haven. If you haven't seen these videos before, this is not a way for me to give you hindsight analysis or anything like that. This is just a way for me to use the replay function on TradingView, kind of like go back in time and give you an overview of what I was thinking, kind of in real time, so that I can properly explain my thoughts, because when things are happening, I'm trying to focus on a lot of different things. I can't, properly explain myself. But anyway, let's start with Bitcoin here. Obviously, my thought process was, okay, what kind of trade do I want to take? What am I looking for here? The first thing I want to highlight was this swing high. If we extend that line to the right, this could give us some key information in the future. Okay, this is also a breakout point that led to the local top. So definitely an area you want to have on your chart. The next thing I highlighted was the swing low here, because if you're looking for some sort of low time frame scalp long, you're going to want to look for that swing low. You're going to want to look for a sweep of that low, enter into a long on the sweep, and target whatever. The next thing I highlighted was the lower highs on the hourly, right here. And this diagonal is just experimental. I didn't take a long position based on this diagonal. If you've seen my videos before, you know I like to do this just to kind of give a little bit more confidence to my argument. I'm not necessarily going to enter into a position purely because I get a tap of this lower diagonal, but it just gives me some more confidence, and I just like to see, what works and what doesn't. So that's essentially the setup I have on Bitcoin. And I'm looking for a long position. So with all that in mind, I believe I was asleep or something in here. I'm not entirely sure, but I didn't enter into a long position here for a few different reasons. Firstly, because of this series of lower highs. And secondly, because I didn't feel as though the reaction after taking this lower liquidity was good enough, right? I was looking for a wick similar to one yesterday. And in the chat yesterday, I was saying, I want a long on a ridiculous sell-off wick like this. It happened on the only 30 minutes I went to take a break and eat. Unfortunate, but I figured that would happen today. And that happens because not a lot of support is built up on the way up, right? And then when there is a sell-off, people are smashing the market buy button because for a few different reasons, right? People will be getting stopped out on their tight longs. People will be buying that liquidity, but I can go more into detail on that in the future. I want to focus on this trade, but where was I here? So I wanted to wait to see what the reaction, how much further we could bounce, right? Because my backup plan was if this was the long, I could just enter into a long position on a break of this diagonal. I don't know, something like this, right? So I wasn't too worried to miss, quote unquote, miss this opportunity because there's another one immediately after. So I sat on the sidelines there to see what was going to happen. If we use the play button here, we can see that nothing really happened, right? We're just still getting rejected by that upper diagonal. And what's a little bit spooky about this setup, and if I was long, I would have closed probably on a retest of our entry, which probably would have been right here, 15.4. But I don't like the immediate retest of the entry point. Again, thinking about what I said a minute ago, I want a sell-off wick like this. I want a very nice wick. Okay, that's not that. We do not want to see an immediate retest in this specific situation. Okay, so I'm not looking for a long right now anymore. So now I'm thinking to myself, okay, maybe in order to tap that upper liquidity, we just need to sweep more liquidity to the downside. Okay, so now what I'm looking for is to enter into a long on another sweep of this area. And as you can see, as time goes on, we're kind of just consolidating again and creating those equal lows, and still unable to break that diagonal resistance even after that fat hourly candle. But it closed directly at the resistance, immediately rejected. Okay, so that just further solidifies my argument that we need more liquidity in order to break this area. So Now, I don't necessarily have my bids already set in this situation because I could get filled and stopped like in the same exact candle in 5 minutes, because look at this candle right here. There's not a lot of liquidity in the book sometimes in situations like this when we have a strong move up. So I'd rather just be more reactive and smash the market buy button rather than have resting bids for this specific setup. I want to make that clear. This is just for this specific setup. Okay, so now I have my argument. I went along on another sweep of the lows. Okay. So as we're about to sweep the lows here, again, we're consolidating, just creating more liquidity under those lows. So now we have to envision people are entering into late longs here. Where's their stop loss going to be? Probably below that sweep of the low, right? That's where I would place mine personally. So there's going to be a lot of built up liquidity from late longs and yep, just certain things like that. And before I go any further, I just want to mention that I also had my eye on Ethereum. I typically have the charts just side by side, but in this specific situation, I noticed that Ethereum just looked a lot stronger overall, right? This was the sweep of the lows for Ethereum right into that consolidation block before the move up, right? So, I mean, if we lost that, it would have been bad news. Obviously, we didn't. Sell off, immediate bounce into it. So everything looks strong there. Nice retest. So we weren't trending down or anything like that. We looked pretty strong. And I believe, now watch carefully here, I'm not exactly sure what exact hour it was, but I know for a fact that Ethereum did not react in the same way that Bitcoin did on the sell-off, which we'll see probably soon. Okay, there it is. So that was insanely quick, but let's talk about that. So if we speed up Ethereum, we can see that I believe that was it right there. Okay, that was all Ethereum did. Ethereum did not move in the same way that Bitcoin did. Ethereum is also just has a more bullish pattern on the hourly time frame rather than Bitcoin. So that just added even more confluence to my argument. So now I see this sell-off. Now I have to immediately react to that. I'm copy and pasting the trade format for the Haven. I'm posting it. The trade entry was between 15,285 to 15,350, and that was just to give people a chance and an opportunity to actually enter into the position. If I didn't have to copy and paste and all that stuff, I probably could have gotten a nice entry at 230. Does it really matter? No. It's like a $50 difference. I don't care. I'm happy to see everyone else get into the trade as well, but this just goes to show you how reactive you have to be in this type of market. So now the new setup is, or the setup is to enter into a long at 285, right? 15,285, 15,300, 15,350, anything like that would have been totally fine. And my stop loss is below this wick, but I gave myself a little bit of wiggle room as well. That's not entirely necessary for this setup, but a fear of mine was that we could do another just brief scam wick, something like this. I mean, it just happened to line up with this diagonal. Again, this is not used for my argument really, but something like this where we could have sold off a little bit and then that was the bounce. So I was just trying to protect from something like that happening. Okay, so now we're filled. Where's my first take profit? My first take profit is the origin of the series of lower highs. If you guys have seen a lot of my videos, you know that whenever I'm entering into a trade based on a series of lower highs or higher lows, I am always targeting the origin of that pattern. So if it's a short and we break the higher lows, I'm targeting the origin down here, and obviously the opposite for a series of lower highs. So my first take profit is targeting the origin of those lower highs, which is 15,810. Okay. Second take profit is 16,121, which is a daily resistance, and the next take profit is 16.4. So the tricky thing now that we are facing is we don't really have too much chart history for long take profits. So the third take profit is mostly because I could see something like this happening, right? Take profit 1 hit, take profit 2 hit, and then we consolidate, maybe a quick wick up, and then that's the rejection. I mean, that's a pattern that happens all the time. So that's mostly why I chose take profit 3 there. It's not necessarily based on a weekly candle or anything like that. So as we can see how the trade is progressing here. So just because we got a nice entry doesn't really mean we were out of the woods, right? We could have easily not broken out and we could have just bled right back down, in which case, my argument would be invalid and we would be stopped out. But here we go. We broke out, and now people are, starting to get a little bit concerned, and I'm kind of getting a little bit concerned that we haven't really made another solid push up. But I want to give this one some more time. I can't say in the same breath that I'm not too concerned, but I'm slightly concerned that we haven't hit take profit 1 yet based on the breakout, based on the type of liquidity, etc. But I'll be looking to close this position potentially, if we start to bleed back down here. But I have high hopes for this position. I think I explained everything I wanted to. The last thing I actually want to explain is that there was a lot of liquidations on this down candle right here. I posted it in my charts section on Discord, but you can see there was a couple $1 million of long liquidations on this wick down. I can't drag it over into the video because my video is only recording a certain area of my screen. But anyway, so yeah, lots of liquidations, lots of confluence for this trade. Hopefully it hits all of the take profits. And I really hope you found value out of this video. There was a lot to explain, and I can't believe it's already been 11 minutes. But again, hope you guys enjoyed. If you have any further questions, please feel free to ask. Thank you.